Most people think an oil filter is just a simple metal can with some paper inside. It's an afterthought, a $5 item you grab off the shelf because the color matches your car or the price fits your budget. But that assumption? It's one of the most dangerous mistakes you can make for your engine. Inside these canisters, there is a hidden world of engineering, or, in some cases, a complete lack of it. One of these filters, one of the most popular brands sold in every auto parts store in the country, is a disaster waiting to happen. From the outside, it looks sturdy. It looks professional. But inside, it's a graveyard of cheap glue, collapsing media, and valves that don't actually work. We bought the top sellers, the budget picks, and the premium synthetics. We're cutting them all open to see what your oil is actually passing through at 3,000 RPMs. And what we found inside the worst one? Honestly, it shocked us. You might want to check your garage after this, because the proof is in the metal. And what we found inside the worst one honestly shocked us. You spend thousands of dollars on your vehicle. You agonize over which synthetic oil has the best additives. But then, most drivers blindly trust whatever filter is bundled in the oil change special. The problem is, the exterior of a filter tells you absolutely nothing. A shiny paint job and a heavy-duty logo can hide a structural nightmare. Today, we're stripping away the marketing. We've gathered a cross-section of the market, from the value filters that cost less than a cup of coffee to the high-end boutique filters that claim to last 20,000 miles. We aren't here to defend price tags or logos. We're here to look at the engineering. We're going to measure the media, test the valves, and see if these brands are actually protecting your engine or just taking your money. Before we put the first blade to the metal, I want to hear from you. Comment below with the brand you've trusted for years, and the one brand you'd never, ever screw onto your engine. I want to see if the data we find today matches your gut feeling. And if you're tired of marketing hype and want more real-world teardowns, hit that like button. It lets me know this is the kind of transparency you actually want to see. To understand why these teardowns matter, you have to understand what's happening inside your engine while you're driving. An oil filter isn't just a strainer. It's a life support system. Filtration efficiency, the ability to catch tiny particles, is only half the battle. You also have to worry about flow. If a filter has amazing efficiency but the media is so restrictive that the oil can't get through, your engine starves. Then there's the anti-drainback valve. This is that rubber or silicone flap you see just behind the holes in the base plate. Its job is to keep oil in the filter when the engine is off. If this fails, every time you start your car, you're experiencing a dry start. Your metal components are grinding against each other for several seconds before oil pressure builds. Over 100,000 miles, that's where your engine life disappears. We're also looking at the bypass valve. If your filter gets clogged or the oil is too thick in the winter, this valve opens to ensure some oil gets to the engine, even if it's unfiltered. But if that valve is made of cheap plastic or has a weak spring, it might stay open all the time. That means you aren't filtering your oil at all. Think of it like this. A filter can technically pass oil and still be badly engineered. That's like saying a parachute opens, so the landing should be fine. It's not just about the opening, it's about the structural integrity of the entire descent. And later, you'll see one filter that fails in almost every one of these categories. For this comparison, we're using a professional oil filter cutter. We don't use a hacksaw because we don't want to introduce metal shavings into the evidence. We want to see exactly what was there from the factory. Here is our scorecard. First, canister thickness. Is it thin enough to puncture from a road pebble, or is it built to last? Second, the anti-drainback valve. Is it cheap nitrile rubber that gets brittle with heat, or is it high-grade silicone? Third, the end caps. Are they solid metal, or are they literally made of cardboard? Fourth, the media. We're going to look at pleat count, uniformity, and total surface area. More surface area means more capacity to hold dirt without clogging. And finally, the build quality. We're looking for glue globs that could break off and enter your oiling system, and we're checking the center tube for structural support. The goal isn't to prove the most expensive filter wins. In fact, some budget filters might surprise you. But one filter that looks completely normal from the outside is about to turn into the most concerning teardown of the entire test. Filter A, the big box value pick. This is the one you see at the checkout counter for $4. Let's crack it. B-roll, cutting open filter A. Initial impressions? It's light. The canister is thin. Inside, we see nitrile for the anti-drainback valve. It's already feeling a bit stiff. The end caps are actually cardboard. They call it fiberboard, but let's be real. It's thick paper. The pleats are unevenly spaced, meaning some parts of the filter will work harder than others, leading to an early clog. Verdict: it's a get-you-home filter. I wouldn't run this past 3,000 miles. It's risky for any modern engine. Filter B, the mid-tier popular brand. This is a household name. Everyone knows the color of this can. B-roll cutting open filter B. But here's where it gets interesting. Even though this is a step up in price, we're still seeing a plastic bypass valve. The media count is higher than filter A, which is good, but the glue application is sloppy. See these strings of adhesive? If those break off, they go straight into your variable valve timing solenoids. Verdict: it's acceptable, but you're paying for the marketing, not necessarily the internals. Filter C, the premium synthetic. Now we're in the $15 to $20 range. B-roll, cutting open filter C. Immediately, you can feel the weight. The canister is nearly double the thickness. Inside, we have a beautiful silicone anti-drainback valve. It's soft, pliable, and will stay that way for years. Look at these end caps. Heavy-duty stamped metal. The media isn't just paper, it's a synthetic mesh. This is built for 20,000 miles. Verdict: if you have a turbo or a direct injection engine, this is the benchmark. Impressive. This one promised original equipment quality. At first glance, this one looked promising. The base plate is thick and the threading is clean. But when we pull the element out, the center tube is just thin, perforated metal that I can crush with my thumb. If this filter gets a pressure spike, that media could collapse inward. Verdict: disappointing. It looks the part, but lacks the backbone. Now we get to the one I've been dreading. This is Filter E. This is a brand that millions of people trust every day. It's available at every major retailer. And quite frankly, after cutting this open, I would never buy this filter again. B-roll. Dramatic slow-motion cut of Filter E. The narrator pulls the internal assembly out. Look at this. This is the kind of filter that looks acceptable on the shelf and terrifying on the bench. The first thing you'll notice is the media. It's not just thin, it's wavy. The pleats are literally touching in some places and an inch apart in others. That creates hot spots, where the oil will force its way through the weakest point, potentially tearing the paper. But look at the end caps. These aren't even glued on straight. I can actually see a gap where the oil can bypass the filter media entirely without the bypass valve even opening. It's just leaking through the inside. And the anti-drainback valve? It's a thin piece of plastic-feeling rubber that was already deformed right out of the box. Nothing about this inspires confidence for long-term engine protection. Can it technically filter oil? Probably, for a few hundred miles. Would I trust it protecting a $5,000 engine for a full service interval? Absolutely not. This is a hard pass in every sense of the word. You're saving $5 today to risk a catastrophic wear bill 5 years from now. So, what have we learned? How do you choose without a filter cutter in your pocket at the store? First, look for the silicone label. If a filter specifically mentions a silicone anti-drainback valve, it's usually a sign that the rest of the internals are higher quality too. Silicone is more expensive than nitrile, so brands don't usually put it in a junk filter. Second, weight matters. It sounds simple, but a heavier filter usually indicates a thicker canister and metal end caps. Third, match your filter to your oil. If you are running high-quality synthetic oil for 10,000 miles, do not use a 5,000-mile economy filter. The media will likely be exhausted or collapsed long before you reach your next oil change. If you drive a car with a turbocharger, your oil gets much hotter. That heat destroys cheap glue and brittle rubber. In those cases, the premium filter isn't an option, it's a requirement. On the other hand, if you're changing the oil on an old farm truck every 2,000 miles, a mid-tier filter is perfectly fine. It's about the right tool for the job. We do these tests because we believe you deserve to know what you're actually paying for. If you want more videos where we cut parts open, compare real engineering, and expose the stuff marketing hides, subscribe right now. We're already planning the next one. We're going to look at air filters and even spark plugs to see if the high performance. Reality is, most oil filters look identical when they're sitting on the shelf in a colorful box. But as we saw today, the differences are massive. Some brands are genuinely over-engineering their products to keep your engine running for decades. Others are doing the bare minimum, betting on the fact that you'll never see the failures happening inside your engine block until it's too late. The part you never see can be the one doing the most damage. So, next time you're at the store, remember, the cheapest mistake you can make is often the one hidden inside the can. Which filter do you want us to cut open next? Is there a boutique brand you're curious about, or a store brand you swear by? Let me know in the comments. Share this with a friend who always buys the cheapest thing on the shelf. You might just save their engine.